When we grow up and venture out into the world beyond our pre-college school lives, we learn a great deal and meet a lot of new people. No matter how diverse our schools are, they are never as diverse as college and beyond. Sometimes we meet people who we like immediately. Sometimes we have to get to know them. And sometimes we meet people and form an impression, and then they do or say something that changes our mind. Those things can go either way. We might meet someone who we think is going to be a challenge, like my first roommate in college. I thought he was going to be a jerk, and he turned out to be an awesome guy who I'm still friends with. I learned from him to keep my mind open and to try not to form an opinion until I get to know people. That can be challenging though. I had a similar situation with a girl that I liked that seemed to go in another direction. Her name was Shelly, and I thought she was a cutie when I met her. She and I were in a class together. In class, I learned that she was very bright and made excellent contributions to our class discussions. Over time, we ended up partnering up for projects and assignments. Out of school, I learned that we had a lot in common. We liked the same music, we loved the same authors, we enjoyed the same movies. We were both big fans of animal rights. We got along great and were becoming good friends. I admit, I kinda had a thing for her. The more that I learned about Shelly, the more I liked her, until she said something that I found really offensive and shocking. Shelly and I were having lunch, and she was flirting with me. I was flirting back. All I could think was, is she cute or what? As we watched the other students paying for their lunches at the restaurant, her mood quickly turned. She shook her head, making her blonde curls bounce charmingly. "What?" I asked, wondering what she had noticed that had annoyed her so much. "He should not be here," Shelly said. I looked over to see who she was talking about and noticed Bert, a guy about our age, eating a sandwich. He wore glasses and was immaculately dressed. I remembered he and I had a class together before. I remembered he had autism. I also remembered he was super intelligent, but was sometimes uncomfortable socially. I also remember getting along with him really well. I wondered why he shouldn't be here, so I asked. "That guy is in my math class," Shelly explained. "I think he's retarded or something." I didn't like that word. In fact, I hated it. I felt the same way about that word as I felt about any given racial slur. "No, I think you're mistaken," I said. "His name is Bert, and he was in my statistics class, and is super bright. He isn't MR, he has autism." "He repeats himself a lot," Shelly continued. "I think he's got mental problems." Okay, first the R word, and now mental problems. Shelly wasn't cute anymore. "Why shouldn't he be here?" I asked. "He has just as much right as we do." "I'm not trying to be mean," Shelly said. I had a feeling she was sensing my mortification at her word choice. "I don't hate people who are retarded, but they can't do what we can. Bert isn't MR, Bert is brilliant. He helped me out a lot in statistics," I argued, still trying to encourage a better word choice. "I bet he gets better grades than I do. He just responds to things differently." I thought I might try to change her mind by explaining Bert's strengths. "Well, that is just it," Shelly said. "He can't adapt to things that we can. He's not normal. I would hate to see him get scared or frustrated and lose it." "Well, first of all, there is no normal. That is insulting to say that about anyone," I said calmly. I had learned over time to react in a calm, rational manner rather than appearing incredulous. It just makes conversations more productive. It takes some work, especially when you're feeling offended. And people with autism don't just freak out. Doesn't he deserve the same rights as we do? He and his family know what he can handle, just like our families and we do. He shouldn't be discriminated against because he has special needs. I was also thinking of my cousin Chris, who had Fragile X syndrome, and my best friend Alex's brother, Ben. I couldn't stand thinking of someone calling them names and not allowing them the same opportunities and rights because they were different. "I'm not trying to be mean," Shelly persisted. "I don't mean to seem like I am discriminating. I'm just worried that he might not be as well equipped emotionally for how challenging college is. Shouldn't that be up to him and his family? And how can you or I know what he is emotionally equipped for?" I was now feeling frustrated and annoyed and was having a hard time remaining rational and calm. "Are you worried about him, or are you just uncomfortable with him in your class?" Okay, that was a bit accusatory, I know. It popped out. In my defense, it was better than me accusing her of not liking people with special needs. Me clinging to my calm and rational discussion. No, I am not comfortable with him in my class, Shelly said. It's distracting. I can't focus with him tapping his fingers on his leg or swinging his feet under his desk all the time. I stopped and thought about what Shelly said. She was not comfortable with people who were different like Bert. Then I thought maybe she didn't have experience with people with special needs. I wondered how that would feel. It was hard for me to empathize with Shelly, but I did know that deep down that she was not a mean person. We had civil rights class together, so I knew that she didn't mean to discriminate. She just didn't understand. Okay, I said, thinking and trying to imagine myself in her position. I don't think that you know anyone with special needs, but I do. I have a cousin with special needs, and he is awesome. I think that maybe you should get to know Bert as a person, and then you might see things differently. That sounded perfectly reasonable. How would I get to know him? Shelly asked. We don't have anything in common. Not that you know of, I corrected her, and you can get to know Bert the same way that you got to know me, by just talking to him. Then I waved Bert to come over. Hello, Jason. How are you? Bert asked in his precise dictation. Hi, Bert. This is my friend Shelly, I said. Why don't you join us? Hello, Shelly, Bert said. Pleased to meet you, and thank you for inviting me to sit with you. Shelly smiled and shook Bert's hand. Shelly and Bert became friends. Shelly and I stayed friends. I was happy that I had been able to persuade her to see people like Bert differently. Our lunches included Bert as well now. Shelly learned a lot from Bert, and her mind was changed about people with special needs being included everywhere that they were able. I learned a good lesson about making use of teachable moments, rather than deciding that I didn't like someone whose opinion was different than mine. In life, we meet all sorts of different people, and with so many different folks out there, there are bound to be those who don't share our beliefs, ideas, or opinions. Sometimes it is because they don't understand, and if we are lucky, we can help them to understand and change their mind. It is not always necessary to change someone else's mind, but it is important to try at least to understand why they think and feel the way that they do, and try to empathize with them. When we can empathize with others, it makes us able to relate to their points of view and to encourage them to understand ours. That doesn't mean that we have to like everyone and that we will always be able to make everyone like us, or that we will never get into arguments or disagreements. It just means that sometimes with understanding and empathy, we can get along better and perhaps both teach and learn new things. Hey, thank you for watching. Please click on the right to subscribe if you like the video. And please don't forget to click on the bell icon when you subscribe so that you can be notified when we upload a new video. Watch more videos on the left, including our playlist. Thank you.